Hi, good morning. This is Anna Imagination with a Healing Garden. I'm feeling very somber today, and I just kind of I needed to step back and think. I needed to step back and talk to just kind of get my self situated here. I had a massive perspective shift. I leveled up from 7 to 8 this last weekend, and I came up with combination theory when I did. I was able to immediately see combinations on people. And I talk more on it over at Finding Your Coordinates, and I explain it there. I won't get into it here, but it was an extraordinary opening of just seeing how people function, how they move, behavior. Maybe I'll get into it here. I don't know yet. I'm improving. And my son arrived on Sunday with most of my possessions. And I felt the energy. I think I want to talk about this because we talk about materialism, and I'm a Taurus. So I have been accused of being materialistic all my life and it's infuriating. It really is infuriating because materialism is a shaming word from our society that, well, I'm just going to say it, ignorant people use to label people they don't understand. It's that simple. We have a lot of words in our society that were created by ignorant people who don't understand something. So they label them to help them understand. But the words are not nice. They're just not nice. The words are downright disrespectful, rude, and wrong. And then we're abused or punished or beaten because someone thinks we're a certain way when we're not, because we're misunderstood. And we end up with these words in our life that follow us around that have nothing to do with us. They are just a reflection of our abuser. And the reason why I have a particular problem with the word materialistic is because every time I read my horoscope, it comes up, which is really getting annoying. Stubborn is the other one. Stubborn really infuriates me as well. Because determined is not stubborn. And what I am is determined. But people who don't know determination mistake it for stubborn. Stubborn is, I know better, and your way is right, but I'm going to do it my way anyway. And that's not at all what I am. I am determined. A Taurus will sit back and spend a lot of time assessing, deciding, asking questions, investigating, and then say, okay, this is my path. And when we say this is my path, nothing can stop our decision. Once the decision is made, ballots are closed, we're going. And then determination takes over, and we focus and we work. People call that stubborn, and that's not stubborn. Stubborn is, I've got two choices and I'm going to take this one. No investigation, no decision, no research. You just decide because you decide. And you could show that person how wrong they are, and they will still not budge because they want to be right. Stubborn is right fighting. Determination is hard work and ethics. So that's one of the words that I really rubs me the wrong way. But the other one is materialistic. So I went upstate for my son's graduation a few weeks ago. And I got there. It was a 3-hour bus ride. I hate going upstate. I get there, and my father takes one look at me and just goes, "You look terrible. I'm going to give you my opinion and tell you how terrible you look and how much I disapprove of your life." Now, my family has never seen me in New York City. Now, New York City is my element. That's an understatement. New York City is my element. These are my people. So where I am most me, where I am most comfortable, where I am most everything, where I am the embodiment of who I am is in New York City. which no one in my family has ever seen me here. My daughter finally saw me here a year ago. And then my people who are in New York City have never seen me upstate. So they don't understand. So I get there and he launches in on me. I shut that down. This is the first, and then they bring my stuff down. This is the first time my stepfather sees me in New York City. This is the first time my son sees me in New York City. And I'm barefoot outside on the sidewalk wearing my awesome hippie clothes. And in New York City, because it's run by a bunch of fives and sixes, you can sing and no one cares. You can be different and no one cares. If anything, you might have someone join you because it's run by a bunch of fives and sixes. Conformity doesn't exist in New York City. So I did my thing and I was dancing out on the sidewalk and he drives by and he says hi and they're circling the block to pull in. And he's like, you are someone different here. He's like, I got here. They crossed the Verrazano, the Verrazano Bridge. I call it Verrazano. They crossed the that bridge. They get here, and he goes, as soon as I got here, he goes, I can see how it's you. Like, this place is you. And I'm like, thank you. It's me. And when I was upstate last time, I felt no attachment at all to any of my possessions. Everything felt like a stranger to me. Everything felt wrong. I had no identity left in that apartment. So now that the apartment's gone and my possessions are here, I feel this massive release because there's no distance. I have no attachments at all to Endicott. I have nothing that's holding me there now. The anchor's up. I am here. And it feels so solid. Oh God, it feels so good. So I'm here and I'm starting to unpack my things and I'm floored. I've been living a minimalist life for so long. I have been living out of a suitcase, out of a hippie bag for so long that it's mind blowing. Suddenly I'm on a bed, a mattress. I'm not on a bunch of blankets and pillows on the floor. Suddenly I have my carpets and I could feel it when I rolled them out. I could feel the energy when I hung my paintings. I want to show you something. This is my love. This is my love. This is my first painting I bought. And it's Don Quixote de la Mancha. And it's perspective within perspective. You can see why I'm who I am. And that painting, it was funny because I found it when I was 20 years old. It's actually one of the first things I bought for myself is this painting. It was like the kickstart to me pursuing my life work was that painting. I'd already been pursuing it, but it was right after 9/11 that I bought that. I had just started my perspective research. So I was like, I was starting a road. And to go back to that painting and see it, I'm like, every object has an energy to it. When we choose a possession, what we're really doing is going, ooh, I like your energy. I want to take you home with me. And I want to combine energies with you. And I want to create something new. Or you are absolutely bringing out a part of me that I need. And that's really what possessions are. Now, some people don't need material objects like this. Some people don't need the possessions. But every time you buy anything, every time you pick it out, it's your energy that's guiding you to pick it out. And you're basically matching up to what your energy is. Now, I figured this out a long time ago that if I buy something if I want to save money, so I buy something less than to save money, the energy is always wrong. And I can feel it. And that just like, no, I always regret it later. I always throw it away and buy what I wanted to begin with. So I actually waste money if I don't spend the extra dollars and get what I want the first time. So when I got all this stuff back and it all arrived, I had this moment of realization where I just went, every one of my pieces of items is embedded with my energy. And now that it's all in the apartment, I can feel this massive charge of energy just filling me. And then this is the beautiful part. I have like several, I don't have one. I have several pockets of places so that when I sit down, I am surrounded by no fewer than 5 things that I love. So when I go to my living room and I sit down, I can feel I'm surrounded by art, I'm surrounded by plants, music, weed, knitting, and wood. I have these gorgeous solid wood coffee tables. And I feel that. And it's just like this happy celebration variation of me. And then I go to my bed and I get a water fountain, mermaids. I really love mermaids. You're going to see that a lot here. And it's just this, I am at peace. It's the first time in my life. You know, I always count my balls. These are all the problems that I've got, all the things I'm juggling. And I got together and I'm like, all right, what am I juggling now? And every time something shifts like this for me, I immediately go, what am I juggling now? And I count the balls, I count the problems, I count how I'm shifting everything. And this is the first time I went, okay, 1. And I just stopped and went, I don't have any more problems. I just have 1. Just 1. And it's the first time I haven't had more than 1 problem to sort out, juggle. And I realized once you start manifesting, once you find abundance, your problems decrease. And all that energy that you focused on juggling balls now goes into manifestation, which is why you uber manifest once you start manifesting. And I'm just like, wow, it's extraordinary. It's an extraordinary perspective, and I think that's really what I'm doing here is I just keep finding all of these perspectives going, hey, here's another perspective. Here's something else to consider, which is why I have like 5 podcasts, is because every one of them shows you a different perspective. And if you have the ability to shift perspectives, you can see anything. And that's it right there. When we're born, I was explaining this in my workshop yesterday. We are born who we are at a certain ethical point. And that person is defined by the time we're 4 and 8 years old. There's no changing it. You can level up from there, but you can't decrease. So if you're born a 6, you're going to be pursuing that perspective level 6 until you get there. That's the everything's wrong. It doesn't feel right. This is insanity. It's because you're a level 6. Don Quixote was a level 7. Living in a 3 society. So if you want to see what insanity looks like, look at how a 7 functions in a level 3 society. He's chasing windmills and they're all calling him insane. I always saw the windmills. I always saw what he saw. And insanity is the term that people throw around when they misunderstand a perspective. I remember Patch Adams. That man walked around picking up benches and shifting them into new positions so he could see them differently. And he was talking to himself. That's a trait of somebody who's 6 and higher. And he was locked in a mental home. And then he was sitting there doing mathematical formula. And Robin Williams goes in and he sits down and he talks to him for a bit. And I remember listening to him talk, and I remember thinking things like, this man is a genius. He's not insane. He's a genius. 4s locked him up because 4s don't understand the higher perspectives because the language isn't created yet. We haven't created the language. I'm creating it right now. I'm creating the ability, I have created the ability to communicate this thing to people. So people who are 3s and 4s and 5s can go, oh, you're not crazy. You're just perspective level 6 or perspective level 7 or perspective level 8. It's like you get to level 4, you get to level 5. But as soon as you cross over to level 6, it's too much of a gap. And as soon as you have that gap, people start looking at you like you're crazy. If you're 4 and you're looking at a 2, but you're an ethereal 2, 4s don't understand. You have to be an ethereal 4 to understand the ethereals. But if you're a scientific or a neutral 4 and you're looking at an ethereal 2, you're going to call them crazy. That's what the word crazy and insanity is. People love to throw that around. That means very simply, I don't understand your perspective. My son called me a weirdo last night. My defense system turned on and went to work. I was raped in movie theaters, so I cannot watch movie theaters. I cannot watch movies in the dark. I cannot do it. I am one of those persons, the lights have to be on. If you enjoy watching movies in the dark, I am not your friend. You don't want me around. Can't do it. I've tried many times. And I can't do it. And it's not something I value enough to go, I'm going to do the mental work to adapt to this. So that being said, we were watching Doctor Who last night. My son turned the light off and I'm like, no, please turn the light back on. He wanted the light off to watch TV. And when I said no, he called me a weirdo. I said, no, not a weirdo. Raped in movie theaters many times. And he's like, well, I didn't know. And I'm like, exactly. When you don't know a perspective, don't label people because you don't know their perspective. Assume you don't know their perspective. I watched everything break down last night. It was around the time we all got hangry and tired. It was around 5 o'clock when all 3 of us, my children, myself, became low functioning. We all function high functioning. That's when we're sharpest. That's when we're brightest. That's when we're most rested. And then when we get tired or hungry or frustrated or stressed, we drop to low function. That's when the subconscious mind starts going to work. So my low function is a 6. My high function is an 8. My son's high function is a 5. His low function is a 3. I think he's pushing 6 and 4 though. I really see him pushing 6 and 4. He's finally leaving the violence behind, which is all 3. You can be 3 and non-violent, but if you are violent at all, it's going to come out at 3. If you are jumping to punching people, 3. Violence is 100% a 3. You're either low, your high function is a 3, or you drop down to a low function when you're 3. Once you hit 4, 5, and 6, the violence starts to go away. 5, 6, and 7, now you start getting into the thinking. 3s, that's where the violence is. 1s, 2s, and 3s is violence. 4s, 5s, and 6 is, well, I can't really put 6 with a 4 because there's really, yeah. This is called, this is a system I built. I expanded off of from Spiral Dynamics. Spiral Dynamics introduces X, and then I took it and ran with it. And I created Triadic Healing, which basically gets a person within all of these perspectives, shifting them up. And so that once you complete group A, you can move. But there's basically a checklist that you have to complete in each group to get you to the next one. And if your subconscious mind basically is stuck at certain points, and your ethics has its own level, your perspective has its level, the one that the society forces on you. But if you're, and I explain this in my workshop, if your parents are a level 2 or a level 4 or a level 3, and you're a level 6, that's where mental illness comes from. That's why we have mental illness, is because you're a higher level, being forced to conform to something smaller than you are. And because of that, and it causes a misalignment, because, like, for instance, I'm an 8. So I have to make sure that I am living, my environment is an 8, and I have to make sure my subconscious mind is an 8. So that's the alignment, is making sure that my home environment is an 8, my subconscious mind is an 8, and my ethics, which is the defining factor, is the 8. So now I'm aligned because I'm 888. Now I have peace. I have peace. Now step me outside and I'm in a 4. Well, I'm in New York City, so I'm actually in a 5 or a 6, depending upon where I go. I'm in a 5 or a 6 here. And now that I feel fantastic. Crime ends at 6. Crime ends at 6. You cannot move from 5 to 6. The ethics change too drastically. Rapists are 5 and under. There are no rapists 6 and over. None. Not possible. Because we understand. There is a massive perspective shift of understanding at 6. It's extraordinary. The whole thing is just extraordinary. So 3s are violent. Rapists are 5s. Not all rapists are 5s. You can be 1 through 5, but no, it was an extraordinary, like, when I laid it all out. The other thing that surprised me was when I have people present. I don't do this when I improv. No, that's not true, because I improv last night. I was floored at how well the delivery went. I was floored at how well my talk went. I did not realize I had that in me. And then once I got going, I was just like, wow. So I've been learning a lot about myself, and things have been calming down. So I have the workshops available. They are over on my Facebook page under the Finding Coordinates website. So you can watch the workshop. And it's in 2 parts. I took an intermission. And then today I am launching my Pay It Forward program, where people can apply. I choose 3 people. I choose 3 people to receive the program for free, my whole $30,000 masterclass for free, to become a certified healing garden healer. If you're interested, comment and I will get you the link for the application. But I choose 3 people. And I'm very excited about it. I got a lot of response out of it. I was not expecting the amount of response I got out of it. So I'm very, very happy. And I think that's it. I think that's where I'm at and things with my partner have smoothed out considerably, settled right down. I realized I still have a lot of pain from my former friend circle, former social circle. They're doing this massive event this week. And I've been uninvited because I'm a whistleblower, because the man who raped me is going to be there. And when I called up my friend, the other guy who's hosting it, and asked him, hey, I want to know, are we still friends? What's going on? And his response was, it's unfortunate that this happened to you, but he's my friend and I'm concerned about your mental illness. And I said, everybody who is your friend has a severe mental illness. I'm actually the one who doesn't have the mental illness. What I am is a whistleblower. And that's why you don't want me there. Because, and he said it to me. He basically said, look, people are going to be on drugs. People are going to be having sex. Things happen. And I just could not believe he said that to me. I cannot ethically be friends with people like that. So I had to part ways. And when I did, I lost a community that was literally my dream community. And it wasn't in so many ways, but it really was in other ways. And it's very difficult. And it still fascinates me how when we lose something that isn't good for us, we still grieve it. And I'm still trying to figure that out. Because I'm going, if it were my ideal place, if it were my ideal world, then what would it look like? And it would be a place where whistleblowers wouldn't be thrown out because they don't like mingling with rapists. It would be a place where people would prioritize consent, not nurture it. And I just can't be around it. So this year, I'm being excluded and I'm uninvited, and I've basically been thrown out of this community. And I want the fun. It's so confusing because I want to cherry pick the good parts and abandon the bad parts. But then it's not that anymore, which means I didn't want it at all to begin with. So, yeah. I'm getting a comment, top off. I have no idea what top off means. I am going to need you to elaborate, my dear. So it's a lot of self-reflection lately. And I do this every time you shift up, every time you level up, you basically reach that new perspective and then you go, whoa, I just need to normalize for a bit. And you adjust. There's adjusting period. And it's very, very important that you take time for the adjusting period. But the adjusting periods are always very, very confusing. And we do this when we heal. This is very much, I really need to stop using the word healing. Whenever we advance and evolve up, every time we level up, there's this expectation like we can just keep plowing. And it's like you've eaten a big intellectual meal and then you need to just kind of step off and enjoy and get used to it, because you're going to go through a culture shock every time. So when you go through the culture shock, it's just getting used to the new perspective. And there's nothing in our system that exists at the moment that says, hey, I just had a perspective shift and I need some time to adjust, because now I'm seeing everything differently. Now I need, and we get this whenever we finish a book. When you get to that end and you're thrown this massive, mind-blowing ending that completely alters your perspective, and you put the book down and you're just in this state, book readers know this, readers know this feeling, you know what I'm talking about. You put the book down and you just go, and that's it. That's the feeling. It's just total shock. It's because you've shifted perspectives. And you need time to adjust to your new perspective, because that perspective shift changes everything. You see the world entirely different. And that's all we're doing here. We're all just changing perspectives. But we're not ever talking about it. We're not ever bringing it to attention. We're not ever discussing it. And that's all we're ever doing. I started using the word perspective on a daily basis. I'll be talking to my daughter, and conversations are now completely different than where they were before. She's like, well, he's doing this and he's doing that, her brother. She's like, well, he's doing this and he's doing that. And I said, he is different than you. And it was just this realization of, hey, he's different. Different perspective, different place in life, different perspective in life, different priorities. And you are trying to get him to conform to yours. You can't do that. You cannot force your brother to have the same perspective as you. I think it's the first time in all of history anyone has ever said this. And she just looked at me shocked, like, and I looked at her shocked. You can't force another people to have your perspective. If they accept it, good for you. And if they don't, respect. And she just got mad because she's 15. But it was this moment of shock. And then she got angry and she pouted because she doesn't like her brother's perspective. And I'm going, you're not there yet. Now, to clarify, my daughter's a Virgo. Everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be clean. She wants everything precise. She also has trauma associated with environment, and that is her soothing. That is very much her soothing. I am a firm believer that astrological signs, our zodiacs, are just this is how you need to soothe yourself. This is it. This is how you need to take care of yourself. That's it. So if you turn to your zodiac sign when you're when you are afraid or when you're needing comfort, you'll find your right type of soothing. And I think that's spot on. I have to check this with all the other zodiacs because my daughter, it's spot on. She's a Virgo, so she has to have everything clean and precise. And when I give her the space to be clean and precise and alone, she's very happy. And that encompasses Virgo. Whereas for me, my comfort safe space is my, oh, this makes so much more sense, is my materialistic. It's my things, my possessions, my cozy comforts, my coffees, my hot chocolates wrapped up in a blanket in front of a fireplace and a book. Oh, I'm so a Taurus. So, and my partner, he's a Cancer. So for him, it's family. He has to be around family. That's his comfort zone. That makes sense now. A lot of it makes sense now. So turn to your zodiac sign when you're feeling, when you need comfort. That's what the zodiac is for. But she did her cleaning. She was doing her, and that's just it, is we have one bedroom right now and we're all three sharing it for about 2 weeks. And then we each get our own bedroom. So yeah, it's coming a long way. And it's just settling in. And I teach perspectives for a living. That's my new perspective. And that's the one I'm trying to wrap my head around. Before I'm like, I'm a healer. I do therapy. I don't do therapy. And then I was like, oh, well, no, I teach perspectives. I teach philosophy. I teach healing methods, but I teach the accumulation of healing, all of it. As I define myself, I get closer to my goal. And this is just this massive goal of defining the self. And every time I enter into a normalizing stage of, okay, decompression is on, it's a lot and it's hard. It's confusing. It's like you just adjusted your compass and you found out you weren't going north the entire time. That's what it feels like. You have to redefine north. Every time you switch your perspective, you have to redefine your north. My life is really starting to fall together, finally. And I'm just going to keep leveling up. So I'm going to do, I don't know yet. I have to just follow my whim, take care of myself. I love doing my podcasts. I love talking. I love doing my playlists and creating videos. It's a real grounding thing for me. I think that's it, is it really grounds me because I'm using my communication. I'm using my authority. So it's all coming together for me. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining me on Witch's Corner.